As you guys know, BlizzCon didn't happen this year, so they did something that's almost as good. One live stream. I would do the punchline, but I think that's enough of a punchline right there. Yeah, we're getting one live stream to get all the announcement of Blizzard this year. Now, we know surprisingly little about this Warcraft Direct conundrum. We don't even have a date yet, and that's really out of character because usually gaming companies like telling a date ahead of time so the journalists can make sure that they are going to be present and paying attention to it, and they can adjust the news cycle to them, you know, to build hype. That's what this is all about, right? It's a publicity event. Normally, I would be at a loss here to when it's gonna happen, but I think it's gonna happen pretty soon, and that's for one simple reason. The Game Awards are coming on December 12th. It sounds like a long time from now. I know. It's been a short year, but no, just less than 2 months away. The clock is definitely ticking. And the reason that the Game Awards is probably gonna be the deadline is because after that, during the Game Awards, actually, they take the opportunity. A lot of games get announced, and that means that they don't want to compete with that attention. They want to do it something either much earlier or much sooner. Of course, if you're going to do a big announcement this year, the Warcraft 20th anniversary, that's probably where you want to do the announcement, you're going to have to do it before that. Also, we are apparently getting BlizzCon 2025 again, so that's probably they're going to do the other announcements later in the year for that. So yeah, essentially, Warcraft Direct has to happen this year, and they are not going to do it a week after the Game Awards. That's going to ruin them. We don't know what they are going to announce in this thing, but they definitely don't want to compete with that. So if I were to guess, we are probably going to get the Warcraft Direct event somewhere late October or early November. That's my guess. And that also seconded by the fact that Soda Poppin is suspended his hardcore WoW stream guild, OnlyFans. He suspended that event until November too. So he knows something we don't. They told him something we don't know yet, and that made him change his opinion on hardcore WoW and when it should happen. That's gonna be its own thing. We're gonna talk about that, but basically that means, yes, that at the latest by mid-November the thing should be out. Now, given the timeline of events we got right now, I think we got just a couple possible things that are gonna talk about that event. Some of them are hype, some of them are things we never asked for, a lot of them are things we never asked for, but I think they are worth talking about anyway. Now, let's talk about the least likely to the more likely from this order right now. The least likely but still possible, remotely possible, believe it or not, is Warcraft 4. It is possible we get a Warcraft 4 announcement this year, and that might be crazy to you, but listen to this. Blizzard is not run by Blizzard anymore. They are owned by Microsoft now, and Microsoft, contrary to Blizzard, is actually extremely successful running RTSs. Age of Empires 2 has been a massive hit ever since Definitive Edition. They got a vibrant, amazing competitive esports industry. They did a tournament on top of a real-world castle, for God's sake. They are raking in the dough. So unlike Bobby Kotick, Microsoft actually sees a lot of potential in RTSs, and they probably got a lot of technology that they can use. They also released Age of Mythology, that's another RTS they just released this year. I think Microsoft might be tempted to try to do an RTS with Warcraft using their already existing technology, like a reskin of Age of Mythology but Warcraft 4. I wouldn't put it past them. Is it gonna be good? Oh, stop it, you. But it can happen. The reason I think it is not likely this year is because they just got the company, and let me assure you, it's gonna take them more than a couple months to purge out the people that suck and make a new team and clean up the company again. One thing that we saw, for example, is that they got a lot of the King people, you know, King, the company that makes Candy Crush. It was Blizzard's property. They promoted those people up in the ladder, and they are running a lot of Blizzard projects now. I was actually very skeptical of that because Candy Crush people making games, haha, that's a good one. But they actually brought a really good point to me that changed my mind on the subject, and that is that Blizzard has a tradition of putting a bunch of millions of dollars on something, getting 100 people to make it, and the things do not get made. This could be Microsoft looking at King, which is a very well-run company, despite making Candy Crush, and saying, okay, you guys know how to actually make stuff when we tell you to make stuff, you're gonna be in charge of things now. That is definitely something that could be happening here, and we do know that Microsoft is greenlighting a lot of new projects now for Blizzard. They definitely see the Warcraft franchise with a lot more potential for new spin-offs and other things that Bobby Kotick did back then. So that is definitely something you want to keep an eye on. Maybe next year, but it's still out there in the bingo. Next in the list, I want to scratch this one out really quick because I'm pretty sure it's not going to happen. That's the next expansion on retail. They just got the new expansion out. They don't want to kill the hype. We barely got like one tier out. I know people are going to bring it up if I don't bring it up, so I'm bringing it up. We already know the names of the following 2 expansions of retail, and they are probably going to wait for at least next year until we hear about it. That will be more in the timeline that they go for. Now, I scratched off 2 really big products of Blizzard, the Warcraft RTS franchise and retail. They are not going to be in the direct, I don't think. We're probably going to get an update of a new tier, the new raid of the War Within. We're going to see that, definitely. But I am pretty sure the stream is not going to be just 20 minutes of, hey guys, happy anniversary, we're not doing anything to your franchise, bye. We're definitely going to see something. So I'm gonna give you one that I think is very safe we're gonna see, because we know it's there. They actually data mined a couple models. I am 90% sure Warcraft Direct is gonna have Pandaria on it. We are getting Pandaria Classic. They are working on it. There's a reason that the remix was made in the first place. That was a very clever play by Blizzard. Credit where credit is due. They invested a lot of money into making the remix a thing, so now they got half the work for Pandaria Classic done. They already got the model scene, the mechanics, they already coded everything back in. That was an indirect way. I don't know who decision it was to make the remix, but in a way that is funneling resources to the classic team, because now they have to do a lot less work to get the expansion to work. But yes, the reason I am telling you this is because we are now on Firelands, the second tier of Cataclysm, and we only got one tier left after that, and that is, of course, Dragon Soul, when you go and you stab Deathwing in the toes until he dies. But yes, if we are very generous here, because we are definitely getting a content drought post Dragon Soul again, how long could the content drought be? 6 months? I don't think people are gonna tolerate a year of getting nothing for Classic, and that would put us more or less in line with June, July 2025, and they gotta announce the expansion before that, right? They're not just gonna surprise drop Pandaria the next day, and I think the timeline pretty much aligns for an announcement. If you look at the way they usually announce their things, 6 months ahead of time is pretty standard. Pandaria Classic is coming, and we are almost 100% sure gonna see it on Warcraft Direct. Now, another thing that I think is pretty certain, and I think this is probably gonna tie in one and another. Like I said, Soda Poppin moved his hardcore event to November, and I think he knows something is gonna happen with hardcore. Well, either that or something else is coming out and he doesn't wanna overlap the dates, but that seems a little weird. Either way, what could the hardcore thing be? Of course, the most obvious thing that comes to mind, hardcore fresh, haha, oh nice. Some people are gonna want it, I don't know who, but some people are gonna be interested in that. And I don't mean that OnlyFans, the soda popping thing is not gonna matter. Of course people are gonna watch it, of course it's gonna be entertaining, but that's a streamer thing, okay? Like the player base, are normal players gonna play hardcore if it's fresh in high numbers? I seriously doubt it. Also, you gotta keep in mind, the way hardcore was sold to Blizzard is, we actually got to see Alex Sensual, he leaked the presentation, so I guess I am comfortable talking about this. They did a presentation, the hardcore people, you know, Cargos, the rest of the XP people, you know that people. They did a presentation talking to Blizzard executives about hardcore being pushed as a competitive esports kinda game mode. If we look at the Velular leaks that we got to see this couple weeks ago, Bobby Kotick was super all in on esports. So I guess, yeah, hardcore might be getting some sort of esports league competition, whatever you want to call it. Yay? I don't know. We gotta see what they're gonna do. Maybe it is interesting. Oh no, anyway, we can probably get TBC Classic, that's something, TBC Hardcore, something like that, Hardcore implemented on other expansions. That would actually be a little more interesting, I would be really into that. And don't get me wrong, I might be doing the Hardcore thing that everybody's gonna be doing in November. I am not opposed to the idea, but if we gotta do 6 months of that, I am gonna lose it. I am gonna lose it, people. And of course, to top it all off, the elephant in the room here, maybe 50% chance on this one, even though it is definitely coming. It is coming all over us. It's gonna shower me when it comes here. What's the next step from Seasonal Discovery? Seasonal Discovery is gonna hit Anchorage in probably a month or 2 months. After AQ40 comes Nax Ramas. Maybe we get a tier, maybe we don't get a tier, because they did promise a bunch of Classic Plus stuff, and I am pretty certain they kinda scrapped most of it by this point. That's just a Blizzard rug pull way they do things. Once again, things get paid for and they never get made. That's kind of a theme in Blizzard. They should work at government construction projects. They would do a really good job at it. But yes, where I'm going with this, there is 2 things we're gonna see either this year. We might get to see, we're almost definitely gonna get to see the new raid that they are doing for Seasonal Discovery. If they are making it, might get rug pulled here. They talked about Karas and Crypts. They showed it on a slide. From my point of view, that's a binding contract. They did a speed shake on it. They swore on the Bible that they were gonna give us the Karas and Crypts raid. So if we don't get to see it, there's gonna be some trouble up ahead. People are gonna get really mad. But if they run out of gas and they are not gonna make it, we're not gonna see it. If they are working on it at all, we're gonna see it this year, definitely. Perhaps we even get to see a Scarlet Crusade raid. That would be pretty awesome. I would love to see that. That's been one of the teasers. But otherwise, if they did scrap it, this is an either-or situation here. The reason they would scrap it is because in typical Blizzard fashion, they just throw the previous thing away so they can run to the next one. Classic Plus. Yes, Classic Plus. I know you've been waiting for me all video to say it. I wasn't gonna talk about it. Of course I'm gonna talk about it. They are working on Classic Plus, okay? Agrent himself said in one of the interviews, they were asking him, why are you making models from retail into WoW and stuff? And he said something like, we just wanna use it for later. What is later? Well, we know what is later. They are working on some kind of addition to Classic WoW. What is this fabled addition to Classic WoW? Classic Plus. There is no way after you see 500,000 raiders on the first week on Seasonal Discovery that Blizzard doesn't have drooling out of their mouth, looking at it and thinking, we gotta do this again. They are gonna do it again. We are talking a retail expansion worth of player increase for doing a seasonal vanilla server if they do Classic Plus like this. Do you got any idea how little it costs Blizzard to make one of these things? They just pop them out every year. Compare that to what it costs to make an entire expansion. You gotta make an entire new map, you gotta make an entire new raid every time, and so on and so forth. It takes millions and millions and millions of dollars to make the War Within or whatever comes next. Making a Classic Plus, it takes like taking Classic and slapping 2 new raids on it every time you do it, and that's it. I don't have any insider info on this, but I think common sense is the best insider info you can have on this. They are gonna do it again. It makes business sense. That's what people want. And they talked about being prepared for the future of Classic and doing this for the future of Classic like 20 times already. And they also said that Seasonal Discovery is a test to see what works and what doesn't. For what? Well, for this. So no shadow of a doubt, Classic Plus is on the works. Now the question, are we gonna get an announcement this year on Warcraft Direct? Well, the way I see it is probably not. We might be a bit too soon here. I think they still do not have a concise vision of what Classic Plus should be, and that's definitely something you want to have clear before you do an announcement. As a matter of fact, I'm sure that they are very concerned about setting bad expectations, incorrect expectations for what Classic Plus is gonna be, because that's kind of what happened with Seasonal Discovery. So I would say that Classic Plus is not very likely to be announced. We're gonna get an either or once again. Maybe they did see the initial success of Seasonal Discovery, and now they see that Seasonal Discovery dropped their players next to nothing because Phase 3 killed the game. And if you look at those numbers like that, I could totally see the business rationale in their brain going, okay, are we gonna make content for 80,000 raiders, or should we just scrap the raid, put it on Classic Plus, and ship Classic Plus as soon as possible to get the hype back, so a lot of people are gonna see the new raid instead of 80,000 raiders. That is a more efficient way to do it, I guess. Are people gonna be happy that the tiers of Seasonal Discovery get cancelled? No. They are gonna be really mad. But at this point, I kinda agree with them. What's the point of making a new tier when they diluted the player base to next to nothing? You should have probably, if you're gonna drop something new and cool and exciting, you probably wanna drop it at the start of the expansion, not at the end. Food for thought. Maybe that's something they should think about when they do Classic Plus next. If you're gonna do something, a new tier, don't wait until the end of the game to do it. But those are gonna be my candidates for Warcraft Direct this year, and what we're probably gonna get. To give you some conclusion and some satisfaction, I'm gonna rank them in order of chance and likeliness to happen. In order of relevance, we're gonna get Pandaria Classic, almost 100% sure we're gonna see a panda in that goddamn direct. After that, Hardcore Fresh or a Hardcore Tournament or a Hardcore Esports event. Very likely to happen. Bobby Kotick was all over esports and he's probably gonna try to give this a shot. A new tier for Season of Discovery. Possible. If they are working on it, it's definitely gonna be in this direct to this time. They are not gonna wait until later to announce it. They are gonna do it now. A new expansion. They are probably gonna wait another year. That's why it's not very likely. Classic Plus. They are working on it. Are we gonna hear about it now? Probably not, but it's still possible. And finally, Warcraft 4. It rhymes with Half-Life 3. Well, it doesn't, but why did I get a resemblance in it? There's gotta be a reason for that. Subscribe, join the Discord, and thank you for watching.